Wow, this is an audience. Yay! Welcome. It is so nice to see people in our school, and it's an absolute joy to welcome you back into our community. The girls have started brilliantly. They have settled down so quickly. They've come in skipping into school, myself included. And it's just been brilliant to have them in, and now to have you in as well is just the icing on the cake. It's been a weird year, but this is an opportunity for us to sort of reinvigorate and to reinforce with our community our open, honest approach to schooling and to doing the very best that we can for your daughters in everything that we can do. I'm going to not introduce these two because they've asked me not to. So they're going to introduce themselves. But I am going to introduce Mrs. Orleback, who is our Deputy Head for Teaching and Learning. And on my left here we have Miss Weir and Miss Mackenzie, who are your teaching assistants from the two classes. And in the middle, the Rose... No. Mr. Ray, who teaches your girls music. And he is here to sort of talk about... well, are you doing talking? I don't know. Yeah. Okay, fantastic. So without further ado, I'm going to leave you to these two lovely ladies. Afterwards, we obviously have the new parents' supper, so you are all welcome to then make your way across to the assembly rooms. And I know the bar opens bang on 7, so we won't hold you up. If you have any questions afterwards, we will be around. And if you have any questions about logistics and day logistics and things like that, we do ask you just to email the Girls Prep admin team and they can support you with those. Over to you.
So I think most of you know who we are, but just in case you haven't met us both, I'm Miss Palmer and I'm the class teacher for Reception C.
And I am Miss Baldwin and I'm the reception teacher for Class B, also known as Zebras. I'm just going to mention a few other teachers that are involved in your child's learning this year. So first of all, we have Miss Naylor, who is the pre-prep leader. She may also teach some of your girls phonics this year. We have Mr. Ray, who we just mentioned, who teaches the girls music and choir. Mrs. Armiger, who will teach the girls French. And Miss Fox, Mrs. Vincent, and Miss Mackenzie, who will be teaching the girls PE this year.
Okay, so I'm going to start just by talking to you a little bit about the change from nursery. At this point in the year, there's not going to be lots and lots of change. It will still be quite similar. But obviously the main change is being part of a big school and being part of a wider community. So the girls will be they'll be going to lunch with the other girls, things like assembly in a few weeks, all the house events they'll do as a school. So it's just getting them used to feeling part of a bigger school, not just reception. Which is obviously a change from last year when they were on their own in a bubble, so it's nice now that they can all mix. Obviously there's new routines as well, so the girls have been learning already where to go, new timings, as well as we were talking a little bit today about our expectations and our behaviour, how we should behave in school and what might be a little bit different, what might be the same from nursery. And so far, they've all been brilliant, so long may it continue. And then the timetable, so I think you have access to it on MIS, the timetable. Yeah. This week, we're not really on timetable, we're getting to know the girls, we're doing lots of play, but the timetable will kind of kick into gear next week. And they'll get used to the lessons being at a particular time, which again, I think most nurseries don't do. And we have the daily timetable on our board, so the girls come in every day and they can see what we're doing, it's really visual. So they come in and they get really used to the routines. And then, as I said, it will all be really gradual. We go at the girls' pace. We're not going to rush in if they're not ready. If we need to take a step back at any point, we will. It's totally led by them. So please don't worry too much that it's going to be really formal straight away. It will be really nice and gradual for them.
Okay, now we're going to talk to you about the early years curriculum. So there are 7 areas of learning and development. Each one is as important and they are all interconnected. You may notice that the first 3 are in bold. These areas are called the prime areas and they underpin each of the 7 areas of learning. So first I'm going to talk to you about personal, social and emotional development. This area is really important for getting the children to manage their own emotions and self-regulate themselves, building new relationships with their peers and teachers, and developing their confidence and independence skills, which we will talk more about. And as Rosanna just mentioned, a few of those. In the first term, we will be encouraging them to manage their belongings, their own hygiene routines, toileting, and getting them used to following rules and routines. We'll be encouraging them to gain confidence speaking in front of their classes. We'll get lots of circle times, and obviously if they don't want to speak at first, that's absolutely fine. We'll be trying to aim for them to get sort of more confident and comfortable speaking amongst their peers. And we will be supporting them to make new friendships.
Yeah, so now I'm going to talk about communication and language, which really links with personal social. So there's a really big focus on developing their language and their confidence in this first term. And as Miss Baldwin said, it's at their pace. But when they feel ready to talk in front of the group, they can. If they're not ready, we're not going to make them stand up in front of the class and talk in front of everybody. So we'll do lots of circle times and getting to know you games. There'll be opportunities for them to talk in small groups with just their teacher and in big groups. We might even do some circle times as a whole year group at some point if they're ready for that. And as well as that, within the provision, we have a lot of role play. So that changes depending on the topic. We'll talk about the topics we'll be doing a bit later, but at the moment there's a home corner, so the girls can go in there and it's brilliant. The language they use, they're already kind of calling each other darling and hoovering, and it's so it's lovely. And when you're all set up on Tapestry, we'll try and get some videos because it's quite funny actually. It's lovely. So that will continue throughout the year, and it will change regularly. And then I've brought some things to show you that we'll be doing that we kind of need your help with this year. So the first thing, and those of you who've had girls in reception before will have done this, there's the school buses. I think not all of you will have, but some of you will. These will be going home at the end of the week, and we'll be sending on Friday there'll be an email explaining more about it. But we'd really like you to fill the buses. If you don't have that many people in your family, don't worry, but fill the windows with pictures of people in your family. And then when the girls are ready, we'll invite them to come up and talk to the whole class about their family, who's in their family. You can put pets on there, toys on there, whatever you want. And then it will go on a display so that the girls have something really familiar in school. They can go and see pictures, they can show their new friends the pictures of their family. So we find that's really nice, and it's right outside our classrooms. You might have seen the big road display, that's where they're all going. And then we have something new in reception, which I hope you'll all like. We did try and find a zebra and a giraffe, but it was quite difficult. So now I have Olive the orangutan,
And we've got Kenny the koala.
and one child a week, we'll be taking this home. Probably on a Thursday. I think we need to decide Thursday or Friday, starting next week, I think. And there'll be a book that goes with it, and all we want you to do is just fill in a little bit about what you've done with Olive or with Kenny at the weekend. And if you can put some pictures in there, it would be lovely. And then we'll photocopy it and also put that on a display. And the girls will also be invited to come and tell everybody what they've done. So as you can see, it's just lots of encouraging them to talk. And sorry, it's an extra thing for you to do, but I hope you don't mind. Okay. Oh no, sorry.
So the next area I'm going to talk to you about is physical development. So this area is split into two main categories. So first we have gross motor, which is involved in whole body movement. The girls will mainly be developing this through their PE lessons, which they will be having twice a week. The first lesson will focus on fundamental movement, where the girls will practice using a range of equipment, practice their throwing and catching skills, and gaining confidence and control with that. And the second lesson will be gymnastics, which I'm sure a lot of them will enjoy. So the second kind of major category within physical development is fine motor control. This is to do with hand-eye coordination, which is really important and essential for early literacy, which Miss Palmer will talk to you about shortly. So the main kind of way that the children develop their fine motor skills in school is through the provision. So this may be with the range of activities that we will have out each day, such as threading, using a range of small tools and equipment like tweezers, Play-Doh, construction, and those are lots and lots of things that are easy for you to kind of try and help your child strengthen the muscles within their fingers at home as well too. If you want to kind of get them chopping, preparing the dinner, things like that will be really, really helpful.
Okay, so moving on to literacy, the curriculum has changed slightly this year. In the past it was always just reading and writing, but they've added a whole extra section now for comprehension, which we've always done with the girls, but there's more of a focus on it this year, which I think is great. So obviously at this point in the year, that's kind of when we're reading them stories, asking lots of questions, which I'm sure you all do, but what was your favourite part of the story, why, what was your favourite character? And then as the year goes on, it's within their own reading, so asking them all those questions when they're reading themselves. And then the writing element of literacy, as Miss Baldwin said, at this point in the year for most of the girls it's really focusing on the fine motor skills so that they can manipulate a pencil. And one of the things we'll be working on is, a lot of them are holding a pencil correctly now, but there's still some doing what we call the fist grip, and they do it naturally even if they can write like this. A lot of them, it's more comfortable at this stage for them to hold a pencil in a fist. So if you can just, if we're doing writing or colouring, anything at home, if you can just regularly remind them, or remember the tripod grip it's called, hold a pencil like this. And then in terms of writing, to just put it into perspective, the expectation for the end of the year is that they will be able to write simple sentences independently. And that doesn't mean spelling correctly, it doesn't mean spelling multi-syllable words correctly. If it's phonetically plausible, so if you can read it and see what they mean, that's fine. And along with that, using what we call red words, which are words that can't be sounded out. So words like the, you, said, but you'll learn that as we start phonics, that will become more familiar to you. And then just to move on to the phonics, we use Read Write Inc. at this school, which is a really good scheme. We've already kind of started doing a little bit of a baseline with the girls, it's nothing intimidating, it's just to see where they are. Some of the girls know some sounds, some don't know any, all is fine, but it just helps for when we start the phonics to group them because they're grouped. And it just means that we can have a really targeted approach to all the girls. There's no point of them all being together if they're in 5 groups, and it means that we can really adapt our teaching to be exactly what they need. And the groups are flexible, so just because they're in my group in the first few weeks, it doesn't mean they might move into another group in the next week. So we look at them really regularly, and we assess them very gently, quite regularly, just to see how many sounds they've retained and things like that. And it does work really well, and you'll see the progress kind of skyrocket. And then reading books, you will get reading books soon, and more will follow on that, but once they've started phonics, we'll start sending the reading books home.
Okay, and now I'm going to talk to you about mathematics. So this year the focus within maths has moved quite a lot towards number. There's a big emphasis on the girls developing a deeper understanding to numbers to 10. Now, those of you who have already had siblings pass through reception, that might be quite a notable change, and the reason for that is to ensure that the girls are really developing their fluency within numbers. So, for example, ideally we'd like them to aim towards being able to recognise numbers fluently, not always needing to count from 0 or 1, being able to spot an arrangement of dots or objects on a dice, for example. We call that subitizing, without needing to count. And also that this change will hopefully ensure that the girls develop a really strong understanding of the relationship and patterns between numbers to 10. If they can understand that, then that knowledge can easily be applied from numbers beyond 10. So that's the main reason for that. There is also a focus this year on spatial awareness. Shape, space and measure isn't actually in the early years curriculum, but we will be spending a lot of time throughout the year focusing on that. And there's many things you can do at home to support your child with mathematics. Things like shape hunts in the environment, number hunts when you're walking around, looking at numbers on buses, door numbers, seeing if they can recognise them, baking together so that they're doing measuring, counting songs, stories. There's lots and lots of things you can do at home. And of course, if they're hearing that mathematical language at home and in school, then it's really going to lay a secure foundation for them by the time they reach year 1, and also it will set the tone for their mathematical journey throughout their time at Surbiton.
Okay, now understanding the world, and one of the biggest things that we do in Understanding the World is LOC, or Learning Outside the Classroom, which I hope you all know a little bit about, and we'll actually be going to our first LOC session next Friday. So if you can just make sure that the LOC bags are in before then, and those bags stay in school all the time, so don't be alarmed if next Friday they don't come home. We keep them in school, and then every half term we send them home for washing and things. But the girls love it. It's amazing that we can go there every week and they just explore and play and just do all things that children should do in the woods. And a lot of the learning we do of Understanding the World happens outside. So we will be looking at simple maps, drawing simple maps of Hinchley Wood. We'll be looking at the seasons change. We'll be looking at differences and similarities. And we go no matter what the weather is. And as Mrs. Mackenzie likes to say, there's never bad weather, just in appropriate clothing. So we go with our waterproofs and our wellies and our hats, no matter what, we're always there. And actually, the girls don't often get to go and play and run around in the rain and go in the woods and explore. Usually they're kept inside, so I think it's a brilliant opportunity for them, and they all love it. So I'm excited to get started. And then, as well as that, in school, we'll be looking at similarities and differences between different cultures, different countries, also looking at different festivals and celebrations. So if any of you feel passionately about any particular celebrations or festivals, please come into school. We're inviting you in. Come and talk to the girls about it, because we love as many of you as possible. Come in and tell us all about what you've been up to. And then, obviously, as the year progresses, we'll do it in line with what's happening. So there will be a big Christmas celebration as well in December. You'll see the girls will be very excited with all the surprises that happen at Christmas. So you've got all that to look forward to.
Okay, and the final area I'm going to talk to you about is expressive arts and design. Now, this area is really important for developing the girls' imaginations and creative abilities. They'll have plenty of opportunities throughout the weeks to engage in art. This may be through the provision that we put out each day, so child initiated, where they can choose to go over, and that will change every day, or it may be through their creative sessions, which will be held every Wednesday afternoon. Other opportunities for expressive art and design may be things like role play, regular opportunities for them to come up and tell stories to their friends, and music and movement. And we are lucky enough this evening to have Mr. Ray join us. And I don't know if you wanted to say a few words about music.
Yeah, sure. So I have the pleasure of being your daughter's first experience in music and teaching them. And it's always is a pleasure to teach such young people. I teach them 3 days a week, so each class has a lesson with me for 45 minutes, and then they also have a half an hour choir session, which is just for singing and learning songs, and then they also have a movement session too. So they're super lucky to have me 3 days a week, and so am I guess, to have them. I've always noticed a difference in them, actually, even seeing them, because I saw them for the first time on Friday for a short time, then again, I saw them yesterday for a short time, I saw them again today for a short time. So, and they've already progressed even in that space of time, so I'm very excited, thank you Mr. Dorlack, for allowing me to have them for so long, so many sessions each week. So in music, the focus is on finding their singing voice, finding their sense of rhythm, hopefully you're doing that at home too, and then sense of beat, so that they're moving to the fast and slow music. They're looking at high pitch and low pitch music, and also the volume of it, so the loud and soft, and being able to laughing, being able to experience that, and also replicate it too. So I might say to them, let's sing this song faster, let's sing this song within our low voice, and you'll hear them practicing that at home, maybe teaching you how to find your low voice when you get home. I don't live in the attic. Apparently they've all gone home today telling you that I live in the attic upstairs and I don't have breakfast or dinner. It's not the case. I was just teasing them today. I'm so sorry that they came home saying that. Poor Mr. Ray. I do live in a house, so don't worry about that. I don't live here. And also over the course of the year that they get to learn how to read notation. So I use something called staff notation or stick notation, where they read crotchets and quavers and get to actually experience playing them too and read them out loud. You'll be surprised by the end of the year what they can actually achieve. So if you have any questions about music, please do email me or my team and we can get back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ray.
Okay, so these are the topics that we're hoping to do this year. So this term we're doing All About Me, we're starting with All About Me, and then we're hoping to move on to people who help us, and then Christmas and celebrations at the end of the term. In the spring term we'll come back and we'll do dinosaurs, and that will then turn into Ice World. And then in the summer we've got an overarching topic of amazing animals, so we'll learn about animals. Each week will be a different animal from a different part of the world. And then trips that we're hoping we'll be able to go on. Hopefully we might be going to a food factory. We're trying to get that organised for people who help us. There might be a dinosaur that comes to visit us, and hopefully we'll also go to the zoo in the summer. And then the other thing, parent help again. If any of you do a job that comes under the people who help us category, if any of you would be happy to come in and chat to the girls just about what you do, you're much better at telling them about it than we are, so that would be great if any of you would like to come and talk to them. Just send us an email and we can get you in.
Okay, now I'm going to talk to you about Tapestry, and it was so good to see so many of you come early and sign up for Tapestry. It's such a fantastic resource that we have in school, and it's basically your child will have an online learning journey that you can follow. So you've linked up your emails hopefully now. If you didn't get a chance to do that before, don't worry. Feel free to email us and we will send the relevant information to you. But once you've set it all up, you can have an app and you'll get notified of any observations that we add in school about any of the learning that your girls get up to. Lovely photos, lots of videos. There's even an option for you to add comments to those. From my experience in the most recent lockdowns, it's also been such a fantastic resource for keeping in touch with parents and also seeing all the wonderful home learning that the children had done in the lockdowns. Hopefully we won't have another one. But so another thing that we really, really like to encourage is for you to also add observations at home. So this may be any birthdays that your girl has, any days out or weekends away that you have, any important milestones that your child may reach, such as riding their bike. You can add observations and photos of them at home too, and we do provide them with opportunities weekly to stand up in front of their peers and share those observations with the support from their teacher, and that will be a place of show and tell. And that does count towards your child's learning journey, so as much as you can, we'd love to encourage you to do that.
Okay, I'm aware of the time, so I'll try not to speak for too much longer. I just want to talk to you about price really quickly, which is what we use in school as kind of positive reinforcement, which is what we try to do as much as possible. So it's polite, resilient, independent, caring and effort. And the girls can get house points for showing any of these. Some of the girls have already had house points today. We had girls for showing resilience when they were doing sound with me, for helping to tidy up. So they're very aware of these and they can earn those all the time. And then every Friday as well, we'll choose a few girls from each class who have demonstrated one or a couple of these areas, and they'll get a certificate in assembly, so the whole school can celebrate them. And this happens throughout the school, so they start in reception and it goes all the way through to year 6. So it's something that the girls know are really familiar with, and it does work really well.
Okay, and just to kind of wrap things up, we'd just like to speak to you about a few of the ways you can help at home. Obviously, we've mentioned quite a few of those. So one of the first things is listen to your daughter, chat to them about their day at school, ask them questions, read with them, listen to us, we're here to help you. We both want to achieve the same thing and the best for your daughters. Try and remain positive, celebrate small achievements as much as the big ones. Come and talk to us with any concerns or queries. As I say, we are both here to help you. And try and read the school communications, so staying up to date with recent newsletters, MIS, Tapestry. Okay.
And then avoid emotive emails. So if there's anything that you're upset with, anything that you're not happy about, we'd much rather pick up the phone. Now, luckily, we can have you in and talk to you about it. Things get misconstrued in emails. It's much easier, and like I said, we'd much prefer to see you face to face. So please, if there's an issue with anything at all, hopefully there won't be, but just send us a quick email and we'll pick up the phone as soon as we can and chat to you. And in line with that, please give us time, especially at this time of year when it's really busy. Just please give us a bit of time to reply to your emails. If we don't reply immediately, we will. Please give us 24 hours, and at the weekend, please give us until Monday. It will usually be before that, but it won't always be, so please just bear with us. And then help your daughter be prepared. So coming to school on time is really important. If they're late every day, it can really impact kind of just their motivation. They won't want to come to school because everyone else is settled, and they find that really difficult. Making sure they've got the right uniform, so on PE days, on lock days, just make sure that they're ready every day. Don't do it all for them, so please allow them to be independent, allow them to get dressed on their own, even if it's just giving it a go, doing their buttons, putting their shoes on. As much as you can do of that at school, at home will really help us in school, because we encourage it as much as we can at school. And zips are a really big thing. Please encourage them and help them to do their zips and their seat belts. Especially when we go to lock, they need to be able to do their own seat belt. So that's another piece of homework. Please just sit in the car and practice the seat belt. And then snack box and water bottles. This was a request from Mrs. Mackenzie. This is the size of our tray. Please, 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 can we ask that the snack box is not taller than this or wider, because it won't. It's you'd be surprised. Just because I know it sounds like it sounds really trivial, but actually it takes up a lot of time. They kind of have a bicker quite a lot if the trays don't go in, and it does take up a lot of our time, so please just make sure that their snack box fits in here, and if possible just one snack box, not 3 or 4. Thank you. Really quickly, sorry. This, just if you wanted to have a look at the curriculum overview, all the stuff that we'll be looking at this term, it's on the parent section of MIS, so you can read this at your own time. There's this and there's another one, I think. And there's also some ideas of things you can do at home on there.
And some recommended reads.
Oh yeah,
if you keep going, there's a link on there on the parent site. If you click on, there are all sorts of reading recommendations right through from reception to year 6 for different genres, and then for each year group there are 50 recommended books, so books you can read with them.
Thank you everyone for coming.